The Narendra Modi government is considering a DNA profiling bill, which if approved, will make India among the last large countries to adopt a fingerprinting bill. What is DNA profiling? And where does India stand in adopting it? What is the significance of DNA profiling? What are the concerns associated with DNA profiling? What are the salient features of DNA-based technology use and regulation Bill 2017? GS Paper 3, Science and Technology. What is the context about? While the Supreme Court decides whether Indian citizens have a right to privacy or not, the government is pressing ahead with controversial plans to introduce a DNA profiling bill. Government is all set to regulate DNA technology and set up a DNA profiling authority. Previous versions of this law have been criticized on privacy grounds, but the Law Commission on the 26th of July 2017 published their own take on the bill. What is DNA profiling? And where does India stand in adopting it? DNA profiling is a forensic technique used to identify individuals by characteristics of their DNA. DNA profiling is different from full genome sequencing. A typical adult has over 3 billion characteristics in her DNA, and only about a dozen characteristics, 13 to be precise, are required for a DNA profiling database. A technique called the short tandem repeat (STR) analysis is most widely used in forensic analysis. Over the last 25 years, most countries have adopted a DNA fingerprinting law. India will be among the last large countries to adopt a DNA profiling or fingerprinting. Now it has to develop fresh databases for criminal investigation, disaster identification and forensic science. Significance of DNA profiling. India does not have a national DNA database to address the issue of thousands of unclaimed dead bodies in India that are reported annually. When DNA profiling is used wisely, it can bring major benefits to society by helping to convict serious criminals, connect seemingly unrelated crimes and possibly even preventing crime. It is also particularly useful in the aftermath of a natural disaster. Concerns associated with DNA profiling. There are fears that the government and the police may be able to misuse this data and threaten our individual rights as well as that of our families. Other concern is that genetic information and personal data are stored indefinitely on a DNA database. Salient features of DNA-based technology, use and regulation, Bill 2017. The draft DNA-based technology, use and regulation, Bill 2017 permits processing of DNA samples and puts in place safeguards against the misuse of data. Only for identification, DNA profiling would be undertaken exclusively for identification of a person and would not be used to extract any other information. Further, no bodily substances will be taken from a person unless consent is given for the same. DNA Profiling Board. A DNA profiling board will be constituted as a statutory body which will be responsible for supervising, monitoring, inspecting and assessing DNA laboratories. DNA Databank. The bill proposes a national DNA databank and regional DNA databanks for the states. The databanks will be responsible for storing DNA profiles received from the accredited laboratories, and penalties. The violators of the provisions would be liable for imprisonment which may extend up to 3 years and includes a fine.